Hey family, it's Danielle here in the flesh with a brand new video. So today, you guys, we are going to talk about homeschool. I'm going to answer some of the questions that you guys have left on some of my previous homeschool videos. So today I'm going to do kind of like a Q&A all about homeschooling. So if you're interested in knowing more about homeschooling or have some questions from previous videos, then stick around for the video. But before we jump into this video, if you're new here, hi, welcome. My name is Danielle and I am the non-traditional mommy. And on this channel, we talk about homeschooling, parenting, marriage, family, and anything else that pertains to life. So if any of that is an interest of yours, I would love for you to consider joining my family and hitting the subscribe button to the rest of my non-traditional family. You guys are the MVPs and I love you bunches. Seriously, you are the MVPs. You guys are so patient and so gracious with me as I am in and out and just all over the place. So yes. Pump up. Fist pump to you guys for hanging in there. All right, you guys. So I was going through some of my comments trying to answer and respond to some of them because much like texting in my life, I am terrible at responding to text messages and comments and things like that. And so I was trying to go through and just kind of see what comments I missed and trying to respond and do better, you guys. 2021 is all about do better. So I was trying to do better. And I noticed that I had a lot of questions that I didn't answer. So I was like, you know what? Let me just sit down and do a video and try to answer some of these questions one shot. Bam, here you go. So that is what we're going to do today. So let's just kind of jump right into some of the questions. Let me begin this video by saying my answers are probably not going to be the normal answers. They're probably not going to fall in line with other people. I tend to think they're more non-traditional. Maybe not. Maybe you guys agree. Maybe these are the normal answers. But I tend not to fall in line with other people when it comes to these type of topics. So let me just go ahead and put that on the front end of this video. All right, so I also asked you guys on the community tab if you had questions. So you guys, if you still have questions, you can go there and leave them. And if I get a number of more questions, then I'll just do another video because, you know, that's what we do here. So anyway, let's jump into the questions, you guys. So somebody asked me about my high schooler's test scores, and so she takes the ACT this weekend. She had not taken it yet, hasn't taken it yet, and hadn't taken it in the past. She was actually scheduled to take it in 2020, April of 2020. We all know how that turned out. So she did not take the ACT last year. So she's actually scheduled to take it this year. Now, just test scores in general, my umbrella school that we are under does not require us to test, and that is why I chose that umbrella school. I am a person that leans away from testing, so so she hadn't done any formal testing. This will be her first time ever taking a formal test, so it'll be interesting how that goes and, you know, what score she gets. But when she gets her scores back, if she is okay, I will share them with you guys and let you know. Maybe her and I'll sit down and do a video just over how she felt about the ACT and that kind of thing. So so far we don't have any test scores because she hasn't taken any test. Next question. her daily schedule. So all of my kids' schedules are different. So my high schooler that just graduated, if you watched any of my other videos, you know that once my kids get to high school, I tend to be hands off as much as possible, because I want them to learn on their own how to be self-motivated, self-disciplined, time management, just all of those things. You know, for me, I went to public school, and when I graduated in May at 18, in August, it was like, psh, in college, here you go, figure it out. And all through high school, I mean, my teachers were holding my hand. You know, my mom was holding my hand. And then all of a sudden I get to college and there's no one holding my hand. And I'm trying to navigate and figure out how to, you know, move through life when I didn't have to do that. So what I took away from that is I would have preferred that high school mimicked college, so I would have been just more prepared. So that's kind of how I operate in my homeschool. I allow my kids to be more self-driven than I am like pumping it into them. So with that being said, she set her schedule. So I would have to bring her in to answer that question. Now, for my other kids, if you've seen my videos, we do block scheduling and loop scheduling. And so basically I do a block of time set aside for school. And in that block of time, I loop through subjects except for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, which I dedicate to the 3 R's: math, reading, writing. And then on the other days, we loop through science, history, art, music, those kind of things. So that is what the other kids' schedules look like. For my high schoolers, they set their own schedules and figure it out on their own. I hope that answered the question. The next question I got was, is she in college or finishing high school? She graduated early, so she graduated in December of 2020. So she is currently in a gap. She wanted to have a gap year, but still be on time, if that makes sense. So she set a goal for herself to graduate at the end of 2020. Prior to the whole pandemic of 2020, she had set a goal for herself to graduate early so that she could have a gap year and still start college on time, if that makes sense. But then when everything happened with 2020, it like made that goal, like amped it up for her, and she really pushed hard, put herself in full gear to finish by December of 2020. So she graduated in December. She's currently on her gap. So she'll take the spring semester off, and then of course summer, and she is set to start college in the fall of 2021. So she'll start in August. And she is currently leaning towards going to a two-year college. Where we live in Tennessee, they have Tennessee Promise, which means they pay for the first 2 years of school for free. And of course, you have to be at a school that offers an associate program. So she could go to a 4-year college within Tennessee that offers an associate's program and be on that program and still get the Tennessee Promise. But because she's still navigating and trying to figure out exactly what she wants to do with her life, her thought was to stay home for the 2 years, go to our local community college here, although she is looking at a few local 4-year colleges as well. So to kind of stay home, save her money, figure it out. Maybe she'll start a business. Maybe she won't. Maybe she'll do veterinarian school. For her, the only way she wants to go to a 4-year college is if she wants to be a vet. And so she's really trying to decide if that's what she wants to do. She doesn't want to go to a 4-year college to major in business. You know, not that, because my degree is in psychology. So not that, and my husband's degree is in business. So not that going to college for business is a bad thing. But for her, she doesn't necessarily want to go to college and major in business because we own a business, and she feels like experience is the best teacher. So anyway, that is where she is right now. My other kids are still in high school. So my others, I still have some in high school. And then, of course, my little kids, of course. So, y'all, this rolly chair is like, okay. Let's see. Next question. Okay, so another question I got, was there a specific order to take English for high school? So you have to have, I think it's 4 credits for English for college track. I have a whole video again, and I'll try to leave these videos linked, you guys, talking about the different tracks that you can choose in high school. So if you're going to do the college track, you have to have 4 English credits. And then the order they go in is you're going to have your language arts English 9 for 9th grader, and then language arts 10. So English 10 for your 10th grader. And then for your junior and senior year, you can choose, I think it was like, literature or creative writing. You can kind of choose what English you want to take for those junior and senior year. So as far as like an order, you do have to take ninth grade English, 10th grade English. And then for your junior and senior year, you can kind of choose which English you want to choose or which English you want to take. So if your child is interested in something specific, they can take that English. So that's how that works. All right, let's see here. Okay, so how did I choose my umbrella school? So for me, it was about a few things: religion and testing. So, and degree or diploma. I didn't want to be under a umbrella school that wanted me to sign a statement of faith. That was a big thing for me. A lot of umbrella schools lean towards Christianity and they want you to sign a statement of faith. And for me, I wasn't comfortable doing that. I didn't want to have to sign a statement of faith. For me, I wanted to be under an umbrella school that maybe errs on the side of being Christian. That's fine, but I didn't want it to feel like it was excluding other denominations, other religions. Like there's tons of people that homeschool their kids that don't consider themselves Christians. And so when you have an umbrella school that's forcing you to sign a statement of faith, to me, that's very exclusive. You're excluding a lot of people and almost, to me, prejudice in a way. And segregating and all of those things. So that just did not sit well on my values and my moral compass. So I didn't want an umbrella school that was going to force me to sign a statement of faith. The other thing was testing. I didn't want to be under an umbrella school that was going to require us to test every year. You guys, I leaned away from testing. I was a substitute teacher most of my time in college. For a minute, thought I wanted to be a teacher. Quickly realized I did not want to be a teacher, not for other people's kids anyway. But and I have several friends that are teachers. I have family members that are teachers, and the biggest complaint is always about testing. And what I have found is that a child can know something, but then they have test anxiety. They sit in front of a test and will panic. Or they can be like my husband, who is a master at cramming. So for him, he can sit down the day before an exam and cram his brain and then just vomit it out onto a test. And then the next day you ask him a question and he has no idea what the answer is. So I realized that there are some people that are very good test takers and can take a test, and there are some people who know the information, but they clam up and they have anxiety around testing. So for me, testing, it doesn't really show anything. It doesn't show like if this child really does know this or grasp this or understands it. And so for that, I just kind of didn't want to have to be forced to have my kids to test. I didn't want to be forced to have my kids to have this unnecessary anxiety on them if they didn't have to. So that was another reason I chose my umbrella school. And then a diploma. I wanted my kids to be able to get an actual high school diploma. There are some umbrella schools that when you graduate, you get a GED or you get a certificate, but you don't get an actual high school diploma. And I wanted that for my kids. I wanted them to have an actual high school diploma. So my umbrella school is technically a school. It is considered a private school. And then I am a teacher for that private school. So like my kids get student IDs. I get a teacher discount at places because I have a teacher ID. So it is an actual school. It's considered a private school. And so they have to follow certain guidelines and certain rules and regulations and things like that to maintain being a private school. And then we're teachers under them, and we have to do certain things and maintain like grades and attendance and things like that under them. So those were the three things that I personally looked for when I was choosing my umbrella school. Long answer, but I hope that answered your question. Is it bad that I'm not saying names? I've seen some people do like Q&As and they say the person's name, but you know. So somebody asked about the different paths. I have done a full video on the different paths for high school, but in short, there is the college track, which means your child plans on going to a 4-year college. There is the 2-year track, which means your child plans on going to a 2-year college. There's a life track path, which means your child has no plans on going to college. Maybe they'll go into the military, maybe they'll start a business, whatever the case may be, life skills. And then there's a 4th track, which you guys, I cannot remember the name right now. I'll put it here on the screen, but ultimately that track is for kids who will maybe live at home for the duration of their life, maybe have a special need or a disability, and really don't have the ability to graduate from high school, to graduate. And so they have a track for that as well. So those are the 4 different tracks. But again, I did a whole detailed video, which again, I will leave linked for you guys. Next question is, what is a co-op? So a co-op is basically like school for homeschoolers. And so typically the way co-ops work are the kids will meet 1 day a week at a location. Sometimes it's 2 days a week, sometimes it's 3 days a week. It just depends on the type of co-op. But ultimately, the kids all get together in a classroom setting. There's a teacher. That teacher will teach a lesson and then will assign homework for the kids to do at home for the remainder of the week. So if they meet on Tuesdays, they will come in, the teacher will teach the lesson on Tuesday, then assign the rest of the week's work. They'll come back that following Tuesday, turn in their work, go over the next lesson. And then it's the same way if they meet twice a week or 3 times a week or however many times. So that's what a co-op is. It's basically homeschool kids coming together in a classroom setting to learn a specific subject. So, like biology, chemistry, things like that, English. I mean, they have co-op classes for pretty much every subject that you can think of. So that's what a co-op is. Let's see. Someone asked me about Easy Peasy and would that be considered an umbrella school? It is not. Easy Peasy is a curriculum and not an umbrella school. So you would still have to have, and some states don't require umbrella schools from my understanding. So make sure you check with your state what the requirements are to homeschool. But Easy Peasy is not an umbrella school. It is just a curriculum. Which I hope to do a review over Easy Peasy. I haven't done a review over it, but my kids, y'all, as much as I liked it, they were not fans of Easy Peasy at all. So yeah, I'll have to do a review over Easy Peasy. So to answer your question, Easy Peasy is not an umbrella school. Another question I got was about histories that I have used and what I've liked. So for high school, you only need to take one U.S. history class. The kids are letting the garage up. I don't know if you guys can hear that or not. Oh, now they're letting it down. Okay, so you have to take one U.S. history. Now, here I go again with my unconventional answer. History is one of those subjects where it's his story, her story. So it's somebody else's definition or storytelling of history. So I personally, there's not a curriculum that I like for history. I personally like using, y'all, what are they doing? Now they're letting it back up. What they doing, y'all? What they doing? Okay. All right. Okay. I personally like to use living books for my history. So putting together different books, memoirs, autobiographies, things like that, to teach history. Watching a lot of documentaries. That is my recommendation for a history curriculum. We used a people's, y'all, I'm gonna have to go down here and be like, what the is going on with the garage, children? Let's just give it a second. All right, so we used A People's History for one of our books for U.S. history. And basically, A People's History is just a book, but it breaks down U.S. history in this book. And then what we did is, as we read it, we pulled resources from other areas to like dive a little bit deeper into something that was touched on, to learn a little bit more about a particular subject, those kind of things. So for me, history is one of those subjects where I feel like you need to pull it together. You need to pull from here, and put together your history curriculum. I feel like history is a subject that you sit down as a family and you just talk more in depth about it. I mean, let's just be real, y'all. U.S. history is sad. It's sad. It's horrible. Like the things that happened in this country, how this country was even originated, for a lack of better words. You know, what happened to Native Americans, what happened to Black people, just all of that, you know, Jewish people. That's not U.S. history. We did get involved, so it became U.S. history, but just this country's history is not the greatest. And to me, a lot of curriculums try to glaze over that. They don't want to talk about that, you know, like that's our secrets as a nation, as a family, you know, don't air your dirty laundry kind of thing. My battery's gonna die, y'all. Let me change it. I hope this chair, I hope this lighting is not that bad, y'all. I got this window in the back and I was like, I hope, you know, it's not. Anyway, so yeah, I like to, it's kind of one of those things that you don't air, you know, your dirty laundry. And so what I've found is a lot of curriculums will either A, glaze over history, like they'll touch on a subject, but then they won't go into detail. You know, a lot of curriculums will even falsify U.S. history. They will make it sound better than it really was. They'll leave out details. They'll lie. They'll, you know, fabricate the facts. It's one of those things that you have to sit down with your kids and just really discuss it. And you have to almost become like a researcher and research to fact check these curriculums. So I personally put together a lot of books. My oldest son, who did public school and homeschooling, surprisingly, his favorite subject was history. Like, he loved the fact of just learning and diving deeper and researching and fact checking and learning about different countries, because when you start to learn about slavery and the whole how Black people got here, that led us to learning more about Africa and what that looked like and how that whole slave trade was happening over there. Learning about the concentration camps, and then reading A Diary of Anne Frank, and then watching the movie A Diary of Anne Frank, and just bringing all of those things into your life and just really digging deep is how I personally prefer to teach history, from kindergarten all the way through high school. So I hope that answers that question about history. Now, you only have to have one U.S. history, and then you need government, economics. You can choose between a few. You can do world history, those kind of things. So we chose to do government because I feel like learning how the government works is so important. And it just so happened that Jade, and my daughter that just graduated, when she took government, we were going through the whole thing with our past president. And so for her, it clicked. Like, it was like perfect timing for her to put all it together and learn the terminology and just understand like why people were feeling the way that they were feeling, and understanding all the different parties, and it became real life. For me, the subjects like that, y'all, like history and I feel like those can be real life subjects. Like, I love those kind of subjects. I personally prefer that. Like, can we just get rid of algebra and trigonometry unless you know for a fact you're gonna be in a career that requires those things? Anyway, but yeah, so government, we chose economics because it's so important to understand economics and how the dollar moves through this country, the values and things like that. So we did that, and she wanted to do world history. So she also took world history. She used time for learning for economics, and for world history, we did real books as well. So curriculums on that, economics, U.S. government, I don't know, because she used easy peasy for government and time for learning for economics, which she liked. I mean, it was okay, but I think appreciated it more because we were able to bring in real life to supplement those curriculums. So I personally think just having real life, real books for history type subjects is so crucial and important. So I hope that answered that question as well. Let's see, you guys, what else do we have here? Another question that I get is just time management, scheduling, things like that. So again, you guys, I have a whole video over how we do our scheduling, time management for myself, staying on track, making sure that they're kind of getting everything. You guys, this is not a popular answer. I look at it the same way that I look at babies, and how babies learn exactly what they're supposed to learn or know when they need to know it. So I don't teach, Trice, my baby currently, I'm not like teaching him how to walk, or teaching him when to eat, or teaching him when to sit up, or teaching him when to crawl. Like, I'm not like facilitating that. He is gradually learning these things when he's ready. So when he starts to show interest, or when he's learning these things, of course I encourage it. We clap, and we help him and things like that. So I look at learning when it comes to subjects in life the same way. I look at it from the standpoint of when my kids are ready to learn something, when they show interest in something, then I'm just going to, let's go full force into this thing. I'm not going to force feed them. And I know that sounds crazy because in this country or in this world, we kind of have these systems in place, like, right, you know, they need to know how to do this by this age, and they need to know how to do this by this age, and at this age you do this. And I kind of come from the standpoint of, says who? Who was the person that sat down and said that this was the appropriate age to learn this, or you need to know this by this age? Says who? Who said that? So I just don't operate from that. I'm kind of like, if they, you know, as long as they know, you know, as long as you can read by the time you go to college, if you go to college, then okay. Like, that's just kind of how I operate with potty training. As long as you potty train before you go to kindergarten, okay. Like, I just don't put myself or my kids in these constraints. Now, when they get to high school, I get it. Like, they got to graduate in 4 years, right? So it's different. But with my younger kids, when they start to show interest in reading, that's when I'm going to like hammer that thing in. But before then, I give nuggets, you know, nuggets of like reading. And then when they're like, I want to read, and they're really like gravitating towards it, that's when we go hard. So Charlie, for example, you guys, if last year, if you would have known us, you would have been like, she was 7 last year. Yes, 7. And so you would have been like, wait, what? Is she not reading? Because she wasn't a strong reader. And this year, I kid you not, in like 6-month time frame, the girl is reading like chapter books, like full-fledged books. She's writing mini stories. And this kid just last year was kind of like, eh. And then one day, she was like, all right, I want to read. Like, I'm like, I want to read. And she just virtually basically taught herself, if I'm being honest, like how to read. Her sister had this comic book called Brave. And for some reason, she just took a huge interest in that comic book and pretty much taught herself how to read. She came to me, you know, to encourage and to learn more, and the fundamentals I kind of teach her, you know, but I just, it's amazing to me. It's amazing to me to watch that process, very similar to watching Trice grow up. I realized that as humans, that's our unique ability, is to learn. We don't need somebody to feed us something. When we have the drive, the desire, the want, the will, the interest to learn it, we're going to learn it. So I hope that answers that question. Oh, y'all, I'm not very good at answering questions, am I? I don't know. So that is it, you guys. Not that many questions, but again, I had went through and saw all of these kind of questions, and I thought, versus me sitting here and typing like these long answers, let me just put together a quick short video answering these questions, because maybe some of you other guys have these same questions, and so maybe that will help you guys. Plus, I missed y'all. Like, for real, I miss y'all. I gotta get my life together so that I can come hang out some more. All right, you guys, that is it. If you have other questions and would like for me to do another Q&A over homeschooling, then feel free to leave those questions in the comments below, or head over to my community tab, because that post will be there, you know, forever. And just leave your questions there and I'll check back and forth. And if you're not following me on Instagram, I'm coming back. But always, you can go over there and leave a question as well. So that's it, y'all. If you're not subscribed, please hit the subscribe button and join my little family. To the rest of my non-traditional family, I love you guys. And I will see you in the next one. Hold up, stop. don't go. Before you go, if you want to see some more videos on homeschooling that I mentioned, I will leave them here and here for you to go check out, and I will meet you over there. Let's go.